In the past 6 months, I have completed what a lot of people can't do in 2 years or even more, and it's not because I'm superhuman. I'm far from it. But I completely rewrote my approach to productivity. I want to share with you the three things that I did to supercharge my productivity in the last 6 months of 2024 that I plan on implementing again in 2025. So, first of all, my 2024 was split into two parts for me. January to April, I was stressed. I was burnt out. I was dealing with physical manifestations of burnout. I had severe double vision. It left me unable to work without frequent breaks. I'd gone to the emergency room for it, which was expensive. I don't recommend it if you're in the States. Don't work yourself to the point of vision problems. I was having to constantly take breaks from work. I could only be at a screen for about 90 minutes at a time. And that all changed in May. From May to December, I made significant progress on goals that mattered to me while traveling frequently and taking important steps toward making creativity my main source of income. And I did it without getting burnt out and without feeling like I was overstressing myself. In the last 6 months, I have finished almost a draft of the book of a musical with the dialogue, the stage directions. I've written more than a dozen songs, both for the musical and outside of it. I have completed edits on 3 novels for my clients. I've completed 2 in-depth Notion templates, published more than 20 Medium articles, started a YouTube channel, and published a dozen videos here and more. And between mid September and 2 weeks ago, I did it all with my dominant hand in a splint. I'm still kind of amazed at everything I've accomplished, but I think it happened for three major reasons, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. The first is that I got clear on my goals. We've been talking a little bit about the 12-week year. I'm going to include this video in my 12-week year playlist because I feel like it's super relevant to how I did it. But I did this 3 times over the last 13 months. I defined my goals in last December. I decided that I believed I'm the kind of person who can make a living from her creativity, and I was going to prove it. And then in June, after I had left the job that was breaking me physically and mentally, and I'd finished healing from my eye issues, I made this goal more specific. I would finish my musical and submit it to development opportunities, as well as complete and sell templates in Notion, supported by articles on Medium and videos on YouTube. Finally, in September, I completed my framework of the 12-week year, which we've talked about here, and then I tweaked it for my ADHD brain and my creative goals. If you need that tweaking too, go ahead and check out this video about how you could use the 12-week year as a creative. So each step of this refinement made me more productive and honestly happier and more fulfilled in how I spent my time. It turns out when I feel aligned with my work and I see its purpose in getting me where I want to be, not only am I more productive, I'm healthier. I feel like I'm getting better sleep. I feel better. My eye issues have more or less disappeared. And I think it's because my body was telling me just how wrong my alignment with my work was at the beginning of this year. The second thing I did is the hardest for most people. The reason that I think I accomplished more in 6 months than most people do in 2 years is because I deleted the social media accounts off of my phone. Sometime in mid-June, I realized that I had been spinning my wheels on my musical. I had written really quickly in the beginning of it, and then I had slowed almost to a standstill. I had plot things I needed to solve, and like solving plot is part of my day job. It's part of what I do, editing novels, but I couldn't figure out how to solve them. I felt like I couldn't even get myself into the headspace to solve them. And on a whim one evening, I deleted Facebook, Threads, and Instagram off my phone. And I took the digital well-being app that comes installed on my phone to begin with, as well as the Stay Focused app that I have downloaded myself and paid for. And I reduced the amount of time that I could have on TikTok and YouTube before they would automatically close on me. I kept those on my phone because I was trying to start making videos and I wanted advice and examples on how to do that. But I severely limited the amount of time I was allowed to have. About 30 minutes after deleting these, I'd solved the plot tangle that had stuck me for months. It was like I needed permission to go deep into my head. I did miss social media a little bit. I had Instagram DMs I didn't see, people that I wished I had kept in better contact with. When I hit a milestone in my musical of almost finishing it, I did re-download Instagram and Threads, but honestly, I could already see that my headspace is worse off for it, even with severe limits, and I might have to go back to social media free on my phone. Unfortunately, it works. I feel like we are what we consume. I know ages ago when Twitter was still in its heyday, I would find myself thinking in 280 character bytes because I would be thinking in tweets. I would be thinking in how could I post about this later? When I took that framework away and I was thinking in terms of my musical and I was thinking in terms of songwriting, it changed my brain. And it's kind of frustrating that that's true. There were times when I was social media free that I found myself downloading like the most inane games onto my phone for when I was feeling done and needing a break. And I feel like I let my brain forget how to focus. And for me, it happens really quickly, both forgetting how to do the hard work of thinking. And then once I remove all the barriers to hard work of thinking, I can bring myself back into it quickly because I've been in that state before, which I think helps. I've already done this training, I just need to remember it. But deleting social media was probably the best thing that I did in terms of being in the headspace that let me work efficiently. But even though I removed social media from my phone, I didn't isolate myself. I remember in college, I was a lonely, misunderstood student who ended up on a dorm full of partiers. Like the whole floor was just not interested in school, was more interested in going out. They were loud and they were very social. And I would sit in my room alone, finishing my schoolwork, but feeling so lonely. And on top of that, my loneliness made me feel like my work was meaningless because I wasn't doing it in community. Even though it like really sucks to think about sometimes, it's a feeling I try to remember because it reminds me just how important it is, at least for myself, to find my meaning and meaning in my work in community. Right now, what that looks like for me is I have a songwriting group that keeps me accountable on my musical with people I can bounce ideas off of, people that every class are like, hey, when do we get to do a reading of your musical? Like, they keep me accountable while also keeping me excited about my work. I also have a writing Discord where I can sprint in community, whether I'm writing or editing for a client, building something in Notion, or even editing videos I will do in community sometimes. Plus, I had a lot of breaks for travel, and most of my travel this year has been with my best friend, who is long distance, and it was really nice to get to spend time with her that kept me feeling connected to a larger purpose in my life than just work. Even when I love the work, I do need to feel like my life is more than what I contribute. As I go into 2025, I want to remember why I did so well in this last half of the year, even as my leg measures haven't caught up yet. I'm not quite seeing my income come just from creativity, but I've moved the needle in so many ways. And in 2025, I want to keep that up. I want to continue aligning myself with a 12-week year, starting my next one in mid ish January. I want to keep an eye on my social media use and how social media is affecting my brain and my ability to do other work. And I do not want to isolate myself. The communities that I've built have been so important in my ability to remain focused, to feel like I have meaning, and to feel like there's something to go home to, even though I work from home. Like there's something out there for me once I shut down work for the day. And I think finding meaning in your work and in your community and finding meaning outside of your work is going to be one of the ways to keep yourself as healthy as you can, even while you try to meet your goals.